Hi there. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've had a great week and that you are enjoying the holiday process and doing it in whatever way that honors and respects your beliefs and having a darn good time of, um, of that journey process, whatever you want to call it. The end of the year, hurrah. So, this week, I wanted to continue with some of what I had covered last week, and which was connecting the dots for you about having a soul and having a physical self and how they agreed to talk to each other. And we have to start listening. So for this week, I thought I would go a little bit further with that and maybe give you some um, insight into what the characteristics of a soul can be. Now, everybody is going to have very different, much like we have different personalities, we're all going to have different soul characteristics because it also depends on how many lifetimes have you done? Are you a newbie? And that's fine. And new souls tend to be very root chakra focused. So, money, relationships, jobs, power, that kind of thing, which we all enjoy, I hope. But sometimes newbies can be out of balance with that. But their souls will still have characteristics. And then we grow, our soul evolves each lifetime that you do. Hopefully, you learn a little bit more. That is up to you. And we evolve think of it as going up the chakras, right? So you could arrive in the solar plexus in a lifetime and be working with your own intuitive abilities, working with your own sense of power and like holding your space and all of that. And then maybe there's a couple lifetimes later where you make your journey up into the heart center. And that doesn't mean giving away all of yourself. It simply means being much more kind and open-hearted and all of that. So the souls, each of your souls, are very brave in coming in, and maybe you haven't heard that enough, that there's a bravery to choosing this physical lifetime, because man, there is. And that by virtue of, this is going to be redundant, being a being, you have value simply by being here. And once you start acknowledging that soul and human self dialogue, then you can start to really dig in, do some work. So almost every person that I talk to wants to increase their intuitive abilities, and that may be because maybe you're a police officer and you really need your intuition to kick in for you when your logical mind says something, and that might be that you give a warning or you help a person get assistance rather than writing them a ticket for something. And maybe the intuition works the other way, where they're presenting all nice and kind and everything, but something tells you to just stay on your guard. That isn't all job training, and it's not all a skill set that only women have in the women's intuition category. We all have it. We're all souls. So with this desire, though, to increase the perception and the intuitive ability, people often forget to include in that a responsibility. So you hear a lot about develop your psychic sense, or be the one that gets in a weekend you too can be a medium. All right, go for it. Have a good time. Don't call me to clean up that headspace. Well, you can call me. I'll help. Whoa, the iPad just slid. Somebody didn't like that. So the idea of developing your intuition has to, I think anyway, remember, this is my Facebook Friday, so I get to come from my perspective and my background, is that you have to be willing to explore and develop it with that connection to soul, meaning, like I talked about last week, that we're eternal. So when you croak in this lifetime, you are going to be watching what you did here and how you contributed, and you're going to be processing whether you could have kicked it up a notch or maybe given a little bit more. And it's not from a judgment or ego standpoint. It actually is a very loving place, but you'll know if you phoned it in. So when you see these develop your intuition courses that guarantee something in a weekend, be skeptical, because this is an ongoing, do your homework, make it available in your everyday life process, because it's not just about a sleight of hand or magic tricks or being able to read somebody's energy field. There's a lot of responsibility to it. And your soul will help with that development because it's already kept in its memory bank all of the stuff that you've done in the past. Okay? So when I want everyone to develop their intuition, because I really believe we came in with it and it somehow got programmed out because we had to physically live. And I believe it's still running there, like I've said before, like the security system on your computer, where it's just looking for blips, but we're not paying attention to it. So I believe everybody is intuitive. I just feel like there needs to be a respect that goes along with developing that, because whatever you get involved in, you are responsible for. So if, for instance, people often want me to tap into someone else and, somehow change the situation. I'm not doing that. I'm the one who has to answer to me on the other side. So we need to be in integrity in anything that we do, no matter what your work is, no matter what your soul and your human self is. We need to be in integrity. So if you've read my book or seen some of my other blogs, I really love acronyms. I was going to say analogies because I so love them too, but in this case it's acronyms. And I think they help our brain remember things, and they're kind of like little enter buttons. So while I was thinking about how do I help people understand how amazing your soul self is and what a gift it is to you to get to know that soul self, I was just playing around with some stuff and downloading a little bit, because if you've got the ability, you may as well go to the source. And what came up was this acronym of GIFT. And basically what these are the 4 characteristics that I generally see in someone who comes in and when I'm looking at their soul energy. Now, there are going to be 100 other characteristics, because how did you develop? What did you learn in a past life? How did you, are you paying attention in this lifetime? And are you applying yourself? So there's going to be so many more characteristics. These are very generic, but they do seem to be common in what I see. So I thought, well, let's just get it out there. So the first characteristic of someone's soul self, so this is within you, it's your eternal self, but it's also the part that comes, if you think, kind of hardwired as a soul energy. And the first one is generosity. So every soul comes in with the generosity of spirit. So every soul comes in with a loving being and a loving heart within them, heart center within them, because I don't want you to think it's about the physical heart. It's not. It's just the limitation of the English language. So the generosity of our spirit is that it knows that whatever we're experiencing, our soul self, it knows that whatever we're experiencing it matters and it contributes to the whole picture. We may not like it. It may be a difficult relationship. It may be a health issue. It could be a flat tire on the way home. But it does, whatever's going on, your soul gets it. Like, it doesn't get all upset. It doesn't get ticked off that this is inconveniencing it. Because the other part is it knows it's eternal. There's no real clock to follow. But this generosity of spirit is also what we, I think, in a human aspire to have that love, the curiosity, the empathy, and the joy, the excitement of being physical, the excitement of being non-physical. It's a pretty cool gig too. And then the acceptance of others and ourselves. So the generosity that comes in, there's always a lit up energy around someone's soul, and not a deficit or anything like that. When there's a phrase, what do they say, a dark soul or something like that, I don't believe in that. Every soul has a brilliant light to it, and there are circumstances where it may be a young one, but most of the time I find it to be the human condition that really has the challenge. The soul does not. So with that generosity, there's an energy of inspiration, and each time you are on the other side and you're getting ready to come back into another lifetime, you're inspired, like you're really excited to get in here and try that human thing again. And the inspiration that's there directly connects to our breath and being able to take inspiration, take a breath in and have that permeate throughout your system so that you remain excited about being alive as well. Somebody said to me yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, that I'm always happy. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm inspired by being physical. Like, I can't always be happy. That's just too high of a bar to hit. And then the contrast of emotions is also what keeps life fun. So it may look like I'm always living in that space of, everything's wonderful and it's all good, and then we're going to croak and it's all good. That's not where I live. I live very practical and very aware of all the dynamics that are going on, or at least the dynamics that I see and I understand are going on. I can't know them all. But that, in practicing that, and because it did not come wired, it came wired in the soul, it did not in my human self. So by practicing these things and knowing that they're part of your soul is what gives you that appreciation of circumstances and things that happen. And so when you're in healthy communication with your soul, meaning it's there, it has an intelligence to it, and it's yours, and that's what makes it special, right? It's yours. No one else has your version, and no one else knows your soul as well as you do if you take the time to understand it. It comes in with inspiration, but we are in charge of hosting it. We need to be good hosts and hostesses. We need to be taking care of it physically. So exercising, eating well, getting sleep, having good relationships, the list goes on. And I think we owe it to that eternal part of us to find out what lights us up, like what's exciting for us. The stuff that I find thrilling for my soul, other people may not. I can go for a drive and see nature and feel like I just won the lottery. And for other people, they might not even see it. It may not faze them. But they play the violin or they love sci-fi movies. I don't know. But whatever gives you that feeling of, I really am grateful to be here, that can contribute. And your soul already has that. Again, we have to bring that to the human self. And the human self reflects it back to the soul by saying, I get it. I get that I have this journey. Today may not be the best day, but I get that there's an internal, and I'm going to do my part to raise the vibration. Hi, Kirsten. Merry Christmas to you. So the next part is fortitude. Your soul's not a wimp. So it is not wishy-washy, and it's not just along for the ride as some sort of escort in this physical existence. So the soul is very strong. It comes back wash after wash. Remember that commercial? And it's resilient, even stubborn, because it holds a belief that each of us are amazing. Each of our souls holds a belief that we are amazing. And I think it's just waiting for us to catch up. And that doesn't mean that you have to be rah-rah, sis boom bah every day and every moment of every day. It simply means that there's a recognition of the fortitude that is what keeps us coming in. You need that fortitude in order to be inspired to come in. And once you're inspired to come in, you have that generosity, right? Or the generosity to inspire, and then the fortitude. I'll get it eventually. So the courage that a soul has to come back time and time again is because it wants to improve. There's an innate, within, natural, wired space that wants to learn and improve and understand, not in judgment, but in complete understanding of, why did I say that? Why did I act that way? How can I be different? What is in my world that I need to hold some fortitude around, and that I need to believe in the strength that is my soul's energy, and maybe carry that through to my physical self. So a lot of the times when I think my physical self can't handle one more thing, or is just frustrated with the human condition, I go to that soul place. And I remember, and I consciously remind myself that I have this knowing somewhere. I have the knowing of how to walk this life. I just have to figure out where I put it. And which closet did I stick it in, that because it was in a safe place. And then once you connect back with that, there's a true increase in life force energy that will bring about what we call confidence. I believe it's a solid belief in self that we're looking for, not necessarily confidence. So, as the soul holds that fortitude and that strength and that courage and bravery and whatever other adjectives you want there, it also has a tenacity. So you'd have to be pretty tenacious to want to come back over and over and over again, having a memory of what the experience was before, and yet agreeing to go forth and prosper one more time, not necessarily knowing the whole picture, because there's not a solid blueprint of these are things that are absolutely going to happen in your lifetime. There's a kind of a bullet point. And then we're in charge of filling in the in-between stuff. So the tenacity that the soul has, it keeps getting up and trying again. And it doesn't take it personally when in one lifetime you're in your process and then you croak and then you're on the other side. It doesn't take it personally. It just says, cool, my contract's up, I'm here. And then continues to learn, and then somewhere within knows that it will be back. And for those, if anybody ever tells you they're on their last lifetime, they're not. Because someone on their last lifetime would not feel the need to announce that. So their soul is still being tenacious, and they'll be back. So you can say, okay, see you next lifetime. So each time you feel inspired or pushed a little bit, that's your soul saying, I've read your book. I see that you're capable. I'm believing in you. Do you think you could get your human self on board and believe in you too? And it will communicate through the physical and non-physical parts of us. You will feel an ache or a desire to, push that work out just a little bit that you think is coming from the physical self, and maybe a little competitive place, but in actuality, it's your soul saying, thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate this process and the fact that we're in this together. So every soul has these characteristics in it. So generosity, inspiration, fortitude, and tenacity. Every soul on this planet. Do not think that someone who looks infirmed or has different abilities, or who is from your perception completely screwing up their life, do not be condescending. Every soul has this. So but it is our responsibility as a human, as a physical being, to then take that gift that the soul is giving you and run it up the field. We have to be willing to meet challenges, ask what's not working, apply that, stop with the excuses. If you hear an excuse come out of your mouth, your soul didn't give you that. Your conditioning did. So counter it nicely. If you just don't want to do anything, fine, don't do it. Within reason. You do have to pay your taxes and all that kind of stuff. But stop blaming external if your life's not working. But take the steps to connect with that soul self, appreciate it, and bring some of that power in. Because that's, somebody said to me not too long ago, I wish I had all your energy. And it's not that I have an excess abundance of it. I can hold the couch down like you would not believe. I'm very good at it. But I have the energy because I generate the energy. So, body in motion keeps in motion. Same thing is true for the soul and inspiration and connection. You have to keep that moving, and you have to keep the fire lit. And it doesn't have to be a full flame, but the ember needs to be fanned. And if knowing you have a soul that's already there, ready and willing to back you up, if that gives you some inspiration, and I hope it does, then my work here is done. So in the season that we're in, right, it's a lot of people do the gift giving thing. You already know my perspective on that. But think of this as a gift maybe that you connect with this season. Take a few moments, stare at those beautiful lights or the candles or whatever you got going, and take a few moments and ask, am I appreciating the gift that my soul is to me? Am I giving that gift back to my soul? And can I high five my soul for its belief in me and the tenacity that it has? So it can really lift up your energy, and it can have you enjoying this next travel into the next year. Because I said before, we don't have to wait for a new year to get this. You have an opportunity every moment that you're awake to shift and to connect. So thank you. I hope you have an amazing week, holiday, whatever holidays you celebrate. And I thank you so much for being part of my 2018. I know we'll have one more I'll do next week, where I talk about the energy of 2019, a little preview there. And thank you for being gifts in my life. And I wish you well. See ya.